Good night, everybody. Thanks for being here. My name's Solomon Agah. I'm the owner of Pizzanista. And tonight's a special night because we have Mike Vallely here, he is someone that I have looked up to most of my life, and it's an honor for us to have Mike here to share some stories from the road, particularly talking about this board that came out that revolutionized skateboarding. And skateboarding is something I've been passionate about my whole life, and something that Mike and I share in common. And you know, earlier today I was thinking about Mike and thinking about that board in particular, and I'm going to keep it in that context. But you know, I said that every once in a while, you know, people come by and or people come through and they make a huge leapfrog, you know, and they change people's perception. And you know, you never know what kind of consequence there is for taking those types of risks. So anyhow, Mike's always been a force and someone I've looked up to, and the board that he designed, the barnyard board, and the graphic and the whole, you know, mystique behind it, it's really fascinating, and I'm excited to learn about it. So I'm going to present someone who needs no presentation, Mike Vallely.
Thank you. The first time I ever met Steve Rocco was in June of 1986. And this was in Virginia Beach, Virginia. I had just been asked by Stacy Peralta and Lance Mountain and Steve Caballero to ride for the Bones Brigade. And after this epic session in this parking lot and this amazing experience with meeting my heroes and being asked to skate on the same team as them, Steve Rocco skated up behind me, and I'd never had a conversation with this person before. He skated up behind me and he said in my ear, "You will never be as good as the Gons." These are the first words spoken to me by Steve Rocco. And I was like, no shit. Duh. So in September of 1986, I was living at my grandmother's house in Edison, New Jersey, and I got a phone call from Steve Rocco. And he said, "Hey, this is Steve Rocco, and you ride for Venture Trucks now." I said, "No, I ride for independent trucks." He said, "No, I talked to Fausto and you ride for Venture Trucks now." I said, "I got traded? This can happen?" He's like, "Well, it's the same company," and he went into this whole story, but he goes, "You ride for Venture Trucks now. I'm coming to New Jersey with Mark Gonzalez and Rodney Mullen, and we're doing a demo in Westwood, New Jersey, and you're going to skate in the demo with us." It's okay. So this demo was crazy, because Rodney Mullen was the opening act. He did a freestyle demo, and then Rocco and I were the second act, and then Mark Gonzalez was the headliner. And which I've never experienced this in a demo before, or since, because usually we just all skate together, but this was kind of like 3 acts. And at the end of the demo, Rocco says to me, "Hey, you know, when you come to California, you should stay with me." I said, "Stay with you?" He said, "Yeah, you should stay with me in Redondo Beach, and we'll skate together." And I go, "Well, I'm planning on coming for Christmas break, and I was going to stay with Lance Mountain." He said, "No, you got to stay with me too." So I ended up splitting my time in California when I visited between staying with... Come on, yeah. Yep. So I split my time between hanging with Rocco and skating with Lance. And so we set off on the road. And one of the first nights we were on the tour, we were in El Paso, Texas, and we stopped at a Denny's. And when you're a vegetarian and you're at a Denny's, especially back then, or even today, you're just scrambling to try and put some sort of meal together. And Jason Lee says, hey Mike, yeah, I'm gonna go vegetarian on this tour. I was like, oh, cool. And then he orders a BLT. I go, oh, okay, well, I guess he's not gonna go vegetarian on this tour. And so he gets his BLT and he starts eating it. And he's like, I think I can do this. I think I can be a vegetarian. I go, well, dude, that's bacon. He's like, yeah? what's bacon? I was like, dude. He didn't know what bacon was. He didn't know it was animal derived. So he decided the idea of being a vegetarian on tour was not for him, understandably. I thought it was amazing. You know, in this documentary film, The Man Who Sold the World, if you ever saw that, there's this idea in this film. First of all, I was interviewed for that film. They didn't tell me what the film was about. They said, we're making a movie about skating in the early 90s. They didn't tell me it was a Rocco film because they knew I might not have interviewed for it. So they coerced me. But anyway, the idea is presented in this film that Rocco came up with the concept for the graphics, and I wanted this other thing, and then when I saw the graphic, I didn't get it. Like, I thought, no way, man, this sucks. I didn't think that at all. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was one of the most amazing graphics I ever saw. I just thought, are they making fun of me? You know, are they trying to say, you know, that they're making fun of this idea of vegetarianism or something? And that was my concern, and that's what I voiced to Steve. And he said, no. He's like, it's like Animal Farms. The animals are fighting back. Oh, okay, yeah, that's cool. And that's really all it ever really was. Because if I didn't like the graphic, I never would escape the graphic. The board would never have come out. You know, that's the way things really work with me. It's like, if, you know, I don't go, oh, okay, I'll take the cockroach. No. I'm not gonna have a fucking cockroach on my skateboard. I want an elephant. The same idea carries over. If I didn't like the Mark McKee drawn graphic, I would have rejected it. So I thought, yeah, this is great. So all that was left to do was iron out this board shape. And I'd been skating a prototype of the shape. The first time I got the shape, which Rodney Mullen had worked on, Rodney Mullen shaped that board. I had nothing to do with shaping that board. It was all Rodney Mullen. And the idea was, basically, it was a big freestyle board. And to be manipulated like a freestyle board, where the skateboards we've been riding previously were vert-derived shapes that were directional. And Rodney had the idea that when he freestyles, he doesn't so much think about directions. Yeah, he skates a certain stance and some things are more natural in a certain way, but the idea of what he was doing on a freestyle board applied to a street board in a bigger, on a bigger platform could open up the doors to street skating. So that's where the shape was coming from, was all Rodney Mullen. The first prototype I ever got was handed to me. Now, I should have brought the board, but if you've ever seen the barnyard board, the actual shape of it, it's hideous. It's hideous. It's like, it looks like a bread box or something. It's like, this does not, you know, and especially at that time, boards had such personality and curves and character and shape, and then there's this square log, and Rodney's like, here you go. And I mean, it did look like a huge freestyle board, like a fat freestyle board, like an overfed freestyle board. And I was like, I don't know, man, I don't know. He goes, well, just try it. You know, we can tweak it, we can change it, just try it. So I set the board up in the evening time, and I waited till night, and I went out to a remote location that I knew I would not see any other skaters to try the board. Like, seriously, I did not want to be seen on this board. And I put the board under my feet, and I started skating it, and it worked. And it worked. And maybe even if it didn't work, but it did, I vibed on it, right? Like, when I look down, I say it was hideous, and in a way it is, it was, and it still is. But in another way, I was looking down at something that was so different. It felt right under my feet. And so I visually connected to it, and I physically connected to it, and I was able to manipulate the board as good as or better than what I'd previously been skating. So this kind of, you know, I kind of puffed my chest out a little bit. I was like, okay, I'm going down to the pier, you know. So I skate down to the pier, and everyone's out skating. They got a jump ramp set up, and the skaters are like, what the hell are you riding? I was like, give it a try. Guys got on it, started skating, and they're like, wow, this is incredible. I said, yeah, man. That's my new pro model. What? No way, this is sick. No one really, the way Solomon introduced the board and the idea of the board, no one at the time really thought this was, there'd been symmetrical boards before. It wasn't a new concept. And none of us thought this is the revolutionary shape. I still don't really think it's true. It's just kind of, over time, things get reduced down, and then people have to have this one place to point to, and it's become the barnyard board. But I don't really so much think. I think the board's special, and I think it was a special time in skating. But I can't really grasp the concept like this board changed skateboarding forever. I'll let other people say that kind of stuff, But something was happening, and the board did have an energy. But it wasn't until the graphic was applied to the board that the board really had a spirit and really took on a life. And the colors, these colors had never been printed like this on a skate. There'd never been this cartoon scene with these vibrant, explosive colors and this insane vegetarian message. And it hit the market. It went out the door. And we sort of expected a major flop. And we had anything but that. What you had under your feet wasn't some generic, mall-bought piece of crap. The board that you bought was very, very meaningful to you. It wasn't a blank. It wasn't an entry-level board. It wasn't something churned out in China and sold at Zoomies. It was something that you connected with. It was your skateboard, and it had an energy, and it came from some place where the people that made it felt this way anyway, breathed spirit into these things. And so if there was messaging on the board, then you tuned into that. And suddenly I became some Pied Piper for this vegetarian message. Very cool until you have to meet these people's parents. I get in the van, I go on tour, I'm doing demos. It's like, hey, come here. Tell my kid he should eat meat. What? No, he shouldn't. Tell my kid he should eat meat. This stuff really happened. And then, of course, there's another reaction. That's the you're wrong. And we're going to make fun of you for being so sensitive and caring about animals. We're going to make fun of you for that. So I would be on the receiving end of all kinds of jokes everywhere I went. Like